Dear friends, God has led you to today's video because He wants to reveal an important secret about the lives of chosen ones. Have you ever wondered why you often feel lonely without close friends or deep relationships? Don't worry, because in this solitude, there is a divine plan that God is carrying out in your life. Let's explore together the 7 surprising and profound reasons why chosen ones are alone. No friends and no relationship, and how we can find comfort and purpose on this journey. Before we begin, please support our channel by clicking like, share, subscribe, and comment Amen so that we can spread the gospel to more people. Reason 1. Energy drain from surrounding people. One of the most profound reasons why chosen ones often feel lonely is due to the energy drain from those around them. When you are chosen by God, you carry within you a special and powerful energy, a divine light emanating from your faith and inner strength. This energy is not only a manifestation of your inner strength and faith, but also a beacon that attracts people around you. However, this very attraction can lead to a deep sense of loneliness. Many wonder why someone so radiant and full of life feels isolated. The answer lies in the nature of the energy you possess and the interactions it creates. Your energy is a gift from God, a testament to your purpose and mission. This energy helps you inspire, heal, and guide others. However, it also attracts those who want to draw from it, whether consciously or unconsciously, like moths drawn to a flame. People are attracted to your light, often seeking comfort, guidance, or simply warmth from your presence. This can be both a blessing and a burden. While you provide much-needed support to others, it can leave you feeling tired and drained. In the book of Mark, Chapter 5. We find the story of Jesus and the woman with the issue of blood. The woman had suffered for 12 years and had tried everything to be healed, hearing about Jesus. She believed that merely touching his clothes would heal her. She did so, and immediately felt healing power flow into her. Jesus, realizing that power had gone out from him, turned around and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" As a chosen one, you may encounter similar situations. People come to you with their troubles, pains, and needs, hoping to find relief in your presence. While it is a divine mission to help others, this can also make you feel exhausted and lonely. These moments are when you need to seek peace and recharge from God. To maintain a healthy relationship, it is essential to have people on the same vibrational frequency as you. These individuals not only understand and empathize with you, but can also complement and enhance your energy. A balanced relationship is where both parties feel uplifted and inspired by each other. Finding someone with the same vibrational frequency is not always easy. This may be why chosen ones often feel lonely. They need relationships that are not just energy exchanges, but deep soul and spiritual connections. These relationships often require patience and faith in God, believing that He will guide and bring the right people into your life. Remember, God is always with you, supporting and loving you when you feel drained. Turn to God through prayer and meditation. He will help you find strength and continue your mission. The loneliness you feel is not abandonment, but a time for you to recharge and connect more deeply with God. Trust in His plan and continue to shine as a light in this world. Reason 2. The need for inner healing of the chosen ones. Dear friends, we often carry deep wounds that each of us has experienced. These wounds usually stem from past experiences and childhood traumas: an abandoned child, a betrayed youth, a deceived adult. All these leave scars that are not visible to the eye but are more painful than any physical wound. We can hide them, but they never disappear. They affect how we perceive the world, interact with others, and even how we view ourselves. The sensitivity to these deep wounds increases their need for a safe and secure environment for healing, a place where they can find peace and tranquility, where no one else can hurt them again. It is in this loneliness that God creates a sacred space for them to hear His voice, find His comfort, and receive His guidance. Think of Joseph. When sold into slavery by his brothers and abandoned, Joseph experienced extreme loneliness and pain. But it was during this time that God worked in his heart, healing his wounds and preparing him for a greater mission. So, embrace loneliness as a gift from God. Let Him work in your heart, heal your deep wounds, and prepare you for a greater mission. And remember, you are never truly alone, for God is always with you, loving and protecting you. Reason 3. The chosen ones possess a spiritual and emotional depth that most people cannot reach or understand. Chosen ones often serve as a light in the darkness for many people. They provide guidance, support, and inspiration to those in need, acting as beacons of hope and wisdom. However, when it comes to receiving help, the situation is quite different. They often need to seek strength and motivation from within because few people can provide the same level of support and understanding they offer to others. This leads to a lonely journey, even when success is near and their skills are recognized. This inner journey is essential for their personal growth and self-discovery. The isolation they experience, though painful, is fertile ground for developing a stronger connection with their inner strength and God's guidance. It teaches them not to rely on external recognition or support, but to rely on God's steadfast presence within them. Consider the life of a missionary who travels to distant lands, spreading the word of God. They may be surrounded by many people but still feel lonely because their spiritual mission and depth set them apart. This enforced isolation can be a painful experience, but also an opportunity for growth. Chosen ones learn to trust in their inner strength and seek out other enlightened souls who can provide the same quality of support and guidance they need. Finding such deep and meaningful connections takes time, but it is essential for their happiness and spiritual evolution. The path to finding these deep and meaningful connections is not easy. It requires patience, perseverance, and unwavering faith in God's plan. Many chosen ones prefer to be alone until they meet those who can truly help and understand them on a deeper level. These relationships, when formed, are based on mutual spiritual understanding and support. Reason 4, to completely trust in God. Sometimes, God gives us loyal friends with whom we can share every joy and sorrow. We often spend much time together, helping and comforting each other through difficulties. However, there are times when we become too dependent on friends, causing our relationship with God to fade. Instead of relying on God, we turn to friends for comfort and advice. It's understandable when we spend more time with friends than with God. Talking with friends and listening to their advice seems easier and quicker than patiently waiting for God's guidance through studying the Bible and praying. The physical presence and immediate advice from friends satisfy our immediate need for answers, but sometimes God may allow earthly relationships to temporarily distance so that we can learn to seek and rely on Him, our most faithful and reliable friend. Just like Job in the Bible, a man of integrity and fear of God, he faced the harshest trials. He lost all his possessions, children, and health. But throughout it all, he did not seek help from people, but relied entirely on God. Although Job's friends came to comfort him, they only offered unhelpful advice and sometimes added to his suffering. Job cried out to God in his misery, and God answered him, granting him deep understanding of His power and love. Ultimately, God restored everything Job had lost and blessed him twice over. Dear friends, sometimes God places us in situations where human help becomes useless to make us realize that only God is the true source of salvation. The chosen ones may experience loneliness as part of their faith journey, helping them see that faith in God is the most important thing. Community and friendship are blessings, but they cannot replace a personal relationship with God. The chosen ones understand that human help is temporary and imperfect. They are led by God through periods of loneliness to realize that He is always present and is the only source of salvation. Loneliness helps them discover true peace and joy when they completely rely on God. Reason 5. To prepare for future roles. Dear friends, when we look at the lives of chosen ones, it's not difficult to see that they often go through periods of loneliness and separation. One reason for this is the preparation for a promising future and higher purpose that God has destined for them. God never leaves us alone without a purpose, like Joseph. The chosen ones today may feel isolated and without friends or relationships, but never forget that this loneliness is not an end, but a beginning. It is a time for you to focus on self-development, strengthening your faith, and preparing for the greater things God has planned. Consider the life of David, who later became the king of Israel before ascending to the throne. David had to endure years of fleeing from Saul, living in caves, and facing many hardships. But during these times, David learned to completely depend on God, and from there, he became a compassionate and faithful king. As written in Psalm 23:4, David said, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." In your spiritual journey, you may feel pressure from society, family, or yourself to have a life like everyone else, full of friends, relationships, and success. But remember, God has a unique plan for each person. Not everyone is called to follow the easy and common path. Some are chosen to walk a distinct path where they will shine in roles only they can fulfill. Loneliness is an opportunity for you to prepare for the great challenges ahead. When you look back, you will realize that every difficulty and trial had meaning and contributed to your real success and happiness. As stated in Romans 8:28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Every moment of loneliness, every trial is a part of the greater plan God has set for you. Trust in this process. Keep your faith strong, and know that you are being prepared for a radiant and purposeful future. Reason 6. To keep away from unhealthy relationships. In His infinite wisdom, God often guides us to stay away from relationships that can harm our spiritual growth. As written in 2 Corinthians 6:14, "Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness?" The Apostle Paul encourages us to choose close companionship with those devoted to God. Our closest relationships should be with those of the same faith. However, God does not call us to isolate and exclude non-believers. We should open our hearts and reach out to those who do not know God, as friendships can be a natural bridge to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. However, sometimes we get caught up in close relationships with non-believers. If these relationships threaten our spiritual well-being, God may lead us away from them. Loneliness may be a consequence, but it is also God's way of protecting us from harmful influences in the Bible. The story of Samson and Delilah clearly illustrates this. Samson, chosen by God to be the judge of Israel, was drawn to Delilah, a non-believer. Delilah exploited Samson's trust to weaken his strength, leading to his capture and blindness. This story highlights the danger of forming relationships with those not of the same faith and emphasizes the importance of listening to God's guidance in choosing friends and partners. When God leads us away from unhealthy relationships, He is protecting us from spiritual harm. While we may feel lonely, it is also a time for God to draw us closer to Him. Through this loneliness, God teaches us to place our absolute trust in Him and find comfort and joy in our relationship with Him. Reason 7. To separate them from worldly issues. As chosen ones, we often find ourselves lonely, without friends, and without relationships. But why is this so? One main reason is the separation from worldly issues. Chosen ones are called to prioritize spiritual values over worldly desires. When we prioritize spiritual values, we care less about material benefits, fame, or social status. Look at the example of Daniel in the Bible. When he and his friends were taken captive in Babylon, Daniel chose not to defile himself with the royal food and wine. He chose to maintain his spiritual integrity, despite the luxuries and temptations around him. Daniel's decision was not only an act of loyalty to God, but also a strong affirmation that spiritual values surpass worldly benefits. Dear friends, choosing to make decisions contrary to the common culture to align with spiritual priorities can lead to loneliness. We may avoid consumerist lifestyles, not pursue wealth or fame, and prioritize spiritual activities like prayer, meditation, and helping others. Those who choose this path may feel isolated, but it is necessary separation to maintain spiritual integrity, rather than feeling abandoned. We should embrace this separation as a strength in our spiritual journey. By separating from worldly issues, we can see more clearly the deeper truths and meanings of life. This loneliness allows us to focus on building a deep relationship with God and discovering true spiritual values as chosen ones. We need to balance social participation and maintaining spiritual integrity. This does not mean we must completely isolate ourselves from society, but we need to be selective and uphold spiritual values in all circumstances. As stated in Romans 12:2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Separating from worldly issues is how we do not let the world conform us to its pattern. Instead, we allow God to transform and guide us to a rich and meaningful life. Dear friends, in this journey, we have understood why chosen ones are alone. No friends and no relationship. It is not abandonment, but guidance, healing, and preparation for a greater mission. Loneliness is the moment for us to hear God's call, find inner strength, and connect deeply with Him. If you have ever felt lonely, remember that God is always with you, loving and protecting you. The challenges you go through are just stepping stones for you to become stronger and shine brighter in God's light. If this video has brought you hope and motivation, please click like, share, subscribe, and comment amen so we can continue spreading meaningful Christian motivation messages to more people. Thank you for joining me in this video. Always trust in God's plan and know that every moment of loneliness has deep meaning. See you in the next video where we will continue to explore and share sacred and motivational messages. God bless you.